So this here is a dosing pump, and we use the dosing pump and we set the level of the dosing pump to dose the supplements that we need to go into the aquarium. Now, as you establish an aquarium, the aim is to work out the inlet or the input and output levels of the supplements required for your tank. So you're going to need an amount of calcium, carbonate, magnesium, and any other supplements or trace elements you might actually be using. And over time, by testing your water and then giving the tank a couple of weeks, then retesting it, and then slowly changing the level until eventually you stabilize the amount of calcium, carbonate, magnesium, and then any other supplements such as nitrate remover or whatever else you might be adding. Slowly over time, then eventually the plan is to sort of get it right. So the right amount of calcium is getting added for what's getting used in the aquarium. Now, every time you put more stock in the aquarium, this level is going to change. So as anything goes in or out, whether it be fish, whether it be corals, whether it be whatever it is that's going in or out of the aquarium, that is going to alter how much of this stuff is required to be added. So if you allowed a good 3 months on a stable aquarium, you may be able to stabilize these levels. But the key is really test, then change a little bit, then test a couple of weeks later and change a little bit, then test a couple of weeks later and then change a little bit. And don't be too reactive. Don't go and turn it right up because it's right down. Otherwise, sure enough, then you'll overshoot the mark and then you have to come right back down again. You're better off doing any big changes manually and changing the dosing pump a little bit at a time, and then being patient, because the aim is to end up with the right input and output levels, but this takes time. You really need to anticipate a good 3 months with a steady aquarium, and that's assuming that you're altering the dosing pump about every 2 weeks. So don't get frustrated with it, just slowly alter it, and then also be aware that as your corals grow, your coral biomass will increase, so therefore you're going to have to alter it again. So basically, almost at no point does it become set and forget. It is really just a matter of test it and alter it. A few weeks later, test it, alter it. A couple of weeks later, test it and alter it, until eventually your levels are sitting really nicely. And at the end of the day, some aquariums we set up, this is very little issue. Other aquariums we set up, it really does take what would seem to be an unusually large amount of time to balance the input and output of the particular products. If you are mixing up powders to make your solutions, it's worse, because if you make each batch slightly different, then that will adjust it. And if you are changing brands of supplements, that's harder too, because then every time that you change your brand of supplement, you do have to rechange the dose that's going in order to create stability. Anyway, if you've got any other tips, tricks, or hints for setting dosing pumps, then put a little note on the bottom of this video. But the main thing is, if you want a beautiful coral reef tank, definitely get a dosing pump, but also definitely be patient.